Hi, thanks for joining me. So today I'd like to do an episode about slice of life anime. This is a genre of anime that I enjoy a lot. When I really get down to it, I don't know exactly how many series count as slice of life or how many of them I've even really seen, but I want to just highlight 5 shows that I think might not be the first shows that come to mind when you think of slice of life anime, but there are 5 shows that I really have enjoyed for various reasons, and I'd like to tell you why. To start off with, I just want to, by way of definition, say that, slice of life shows typically seem to be adapted from 4-panel comic strips. That seems to be what, how a lot of them have come about. I would say ever since things like Azumanga Daioh, which I think was a 4-panel comic strip. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they tend to follow the daily lives of characters. Tend to be fairly episodic. Sometimes there's a running plot line, but it's not really the focus of the the show or the manga. So interestingly, the first one I want to start off with here, I don't think was a 4-panel comic. I could be wrong, but it's Ani Super Sonico the animation. Now I saw this a couple of years ago. I believe it aired in like maybe 2014, 2015, something like that. And I just really enjoyed this. I think that the series really hangs entirely on Super Sonico's character. Now, I've talked about her before. She's a mascot character for Nitro Plus, which, as far as I know, is a sort of a game developer. They do a lot of visual novels and things like that, and also like a musical, production studio, but don't quote me on that. Go ahead and look them up. I don't know a whole lot about Nitro Plus, but the Super Sonico character I think is very fun, and I didn't really like her that much until this show. But I think that the way they establish her character, she's just irresistibly charming. She's innocent, and she's really earnest, and I think that just wins your heart over almost instantly if you're gonna enjoy this character in this show. And you have all of the characters around her, I think, have this desire to support her and help her achieve her dreams, and I think that that's shared by you as a viewer, which I think is really nice. Additionally, the music is very good. From the opening theme to the band that she's in the show, has songs that they play, and just all of it is really well done. I think it's nicely balanced with her other daily life activities, and she works as a model, and some of it's sort of this wish fulfillment stuff, but it all works really well, and it's just a wonderfully charming 12-episode anime series. I'd highly recommend if you like slice of life anime. The next one that I would like to talk about is called A-Channel. Now, I mentioned this just recently, I think, in my Blu-ray anime collection video, so I'm not going to go on about it a whole lot, but I'd like to tell you a little bit more about why I like it. I think one of the things that I really find enjoyable about it is one of the main characters, Toru's jealousy over her best friend Rune. This is sort of a key element of the show, and it's kind of like a element of situational comedy. I think is really fresh and funny in a series like this. I think that the dynamic between those two characters is really fun. Additionally, the supporting adult characters in this show I think are really entertaining, and they really complement the what I would call maybe a more typical like high school student antics that you have also in this slice of life series. Additionally, I think like they do a really good job of mixing kind of this really touching wholesomeness of the show with this occasionally pretty racy humor, which I think creates a really satisfying comedic rhythm, where you get sometimes these just these really punchy, funny scenes, and then other times you get this stuff that's like, just really kind of heartwarming. It's a really nice show, and I would highly recommend it. I think maybe, I feel like it's maybe one of the lesser known or maybe underrated slice of life series out there that I really, really enjoy. The next one I want to talk about is called Kinmosa. That's actually an abbreviation for Kin Ito Mosaic. Now that is basically gold-colored mosaic, and it's a lot of fun. This was a series that was introduced to me by Orecon. I talk about a lot on my channel. He just submitted me a package with some really cool games not so long ago. And it centers around these two characters, Alice and I believe Shinobu, who just, they love each other's cultures. So, you know, one of them is from Japan, one of them is from England, and they each are just fascinated by the other's culture. And they basically spend a homestay together, and then Alice ends up going over to Japan to go to school and to live with Shinobu. And it's just, I think, very relatable to anyone who's been interested in another culture in that way. And another element that I think is very fun is the way that the characters have blonde hair, the foreigners, and all of the Japanese characters are very fascinated with their blonde hair. That's kind of where the gold-colored mosaic element of the title comes in. So Alice's friend Karen, I think, is a shining example of like a broken Japanese-speaking foreigner, which I think is a really fun character trope. Their friend Aya is also a top-tier tsundere, which is another, you know, very tropey sort of character, but I think those are both just very well-realized characters within this show. And additionally, there is some sort of like very innocent sexual tension in the show, and just some, you know, I think really decent side characters that help deepen the comedy, and, you know, a certain amount of drama to the show, which I think is really fun. Definitely highly recommend it. Especially, you know, just get through the first few episodes, and I think you'll kind of you'll understand how the show works. And there have been like maybe 2 or 3 seasons even too, so there's definitely some meat to the series if you find that you enjoy it. The next one I want to talk about is called Strawberry Mashimaro, or sorry, I should say Ichigo Mashimaro, or Strawberry Marshmallow. Now, this was maybe a little before the slice of life boom, perhaps. It was pre like K-On! Or Lucky Star or anything like that. But it's very good. I think you have these 4, you know, again, like essentially grade school students, and they're this one character's older sister named Nobue. And I really think one of the things that works very well about this series is the tsukomi, or sort of like straight man, funny man dynamic between 2 characters, Chika and Miu. There's a lot of comedy that comes from that. In fact, Miu is really an extremely bratty character. She's almost to the point of being unlikable. But I think, you know, she sort of treads a fine line, and just is really a extremely funny character. The older sister Nobue, on the other hand, I really feel like is a kind of an audience stand-in character. She's very relatable, and she really loves these 4 girls who, you know, she ends up spending a lot of time with, the same way that the audience, I think, comes to love these 4 girls that they spend time with throughout the series. The other 2 main characters, Anna and Matsuri, they're both just very lovable, and I think like Anna's antics as a foreigner is especially fun, again, kind of like in Kinmosa, where you know, people who have identified with multiple cultures, I think, are really gonna identify with that character. Finally, we have Mitsudomoe. Now, this is a series where, you know, if some of these other shows have, like, you know, some off-color humor, or like a little bit of raunchiness even to them, in this show that's turned up to 10. And, you know, it is about 6th graders, so I would say that it stays inoffensive. But it's, you know, there's definitely a lot of off-color humor in here, and I think that the show is proportionally just like has a really sharp comedic punch because of that. A lot of the situations I really found side-splittingly hysterical. It really focuses on an odd family. You have a single father and his 3 triplet daughters, and they're all oddballs. You know, the 3 daughters each have their weird quirks, and they just wreak havoc, particularly on the girls' kind of especially naive homeroom teacher. A lot of the humor just revolves around their inappropriateness and their general oddity at the expense of the people around them. But the characters are all really likable, and they actually make a really cute unconventional family. So there's also a certain amount of sort of like heartwarmingness about the show, but there is a lot of humor that is you're definitely off color, but it's really, really funny. You know, if you like that sort of thing at all, you know, I think it's definitely worth checking out Mitsudomo. It's had a couple of seasons also, and I think it's a whole lot of fun. So yeah, that's about it, I guess. If you guys like slice of life anime, you know, I hope that these recommendations are helpful. I'd really be interested to know if you guys have seen any of these. I'd also be interested to know if you have any other recommendations. I've certainly seen a lot of these style of shows, but there's probably things I haven't seen. So so definitely let me know what slice of life shows you guys like. And I hope that you'll join me again for more anime and video game related videos. Take care.